All right, so Microstrategy and Bitcoin. There's a realization I've come across here over the past few weeks because Microstrategy is getting a lot of traction in media because they recently purchased about 55,000 Bitcoins and the share price is going up. It's up 2,000% over the last 5 years as opposed to Bitcoin, which is up 1,800%. And it got me wondering, why would people prefer to buy shares of MicroStrategy rather than buy the Bitcoin itself? Because essentially, Michael Saylor and MicroStrategy, that's what they're doing. They're buying the Bitcoin and they're holding it in storage because they believe it's going to go up in value over time. And people would rather put money towards a company doing that and a face towards it because it makes them feel more comfortable, right? It makes them feel good to think, oh, wow, they bought $55,000 worth of Bitcoin. They bought $100 to $200 million worth of Bitcoin. Wow, that's a huge risk. That person, Michael Saylor, that company, MicroStrategy, took a huge risk. They took the risk themselves, you know, and I'll go ahead and buy shares of that because, I can kind of trust, I can put a face to the name and kind of ride off on that and maybe have someone to blame even if it goes wrong. Okay? Because Bitcoin is not that. Bitcoin is decentralized. There is no set leadership. All right? There is no one that has control over Bitcoin. The only people that have control over Bitcoin are the ones who choose to buy it or choose to sell it. That's it. And what people are failing to realize is that all MicroStrategy, and yes, I know it's a software company, but let's be real. The main thing it's known for is Michael Saylor and MicroStrategy's belief in Bitcoin and how they think it's eventually going to get to 13 million in value per Bitcoin within the next 15 to 20 years. And what we as investors need to know is that all MicroStrategy is doing is buying the Bitcoin themselves. Okay? Why buy shares of that when you can just buy and own the Bitcoin yourself? Because, guys, there's two very important concepts with Bitcoin. All right. We know it's a store of value. All right. We know it's a store of value. But number one, you can buy it, you can take it off an exchange, and you can own it yourself. You can own it yourself. You can have the keys to your digital vault, to your Bitcoin, right there. It's in your possession. It's not on an exchange, all right? Or it shouldn't be on an exchange. But that's very powerful. You can own it. All right, so that's number one. Number two is this. Bitcoin has no set leadership. All right, yes, do they have people singing its praises on podcasts and on CNBC? Yes, of course. And we want people like that because we want adoption to go up. But Bitcoin has no set leadership. It has no CEO. All right. It has no earnings call. And it has no employees, which is an excellent thing. All right. That's an excellent thing because that means no one can tamper with it. It's decentralized. There is no control over it. The only people that dictate Bitcoin are the people who decide to buy it and who decide to sell it. That's it. And that's a very, very powerful concept. And it's something that I have come to embrace over the past 12 months. All right. Because you can own it and no one has control over it. All right. We, the people, have control over it. The people who choose to buy and sell it, which is, again, a very powerful thing. So I get it. You want to buy shares of MicroStrategy because you really like Michael Saylor. You really like all the great things he's saying about Bitcoin in the media. And you like how a company is taking that risk, a bigger risk than you probably are, because they're fronting up more capital, right? Buying 55,000 Bitcoin, buying 250, $250 million worth of Bitcoin at times. You'd rather put your money behind that person who's taking the bigger risk than you. But at the end of the day, what you need to understand is this, all right? All Michael Saylor and MicroStrategy, what they're doing is they're buying the Bitcoin, they're storing it, and they're holding on to it because they think it's going to go up in value. You can do the same exact thing. You can buy Bitcoin, you can take it off an exchange, put it in your cold wallet, and you can hold it just like MicroStrategy does. You're probably just doing a small, tiny little fraction of the capital that they're putting towards it, but nevertheless, you're doing the same exact thing. So why buy shares when you can buy the gold, when you can buy the Bitcoin yourself and hold it and own it in your possession? All right, just something to think about, guys. And I'll end the video on this. Michael Saylor is an amazing individual, obviously very highly intelligent, and MicroStrategy and Michael Saylor are doing amazing things for Bitcoin. He's the one going on CNBC and telling retail investors, telling these management of these institutions, these wealth management institutions, that what Bitcoin is and how it's going to grow over time. And that's what we need. We need someone like that. We need people like that to educate others, because right now, all right, adoption has gone up over the last 7, 8 years, but the vast majority of people still don't know what Bitcoin is. They still don't understand it. All right. And people like Michael Saylor, they're the ones kind of leading the charge. All right. And when other big wealth management institutions look at MicroStrategy over the next 5 to 10 years and they see the gains they've made and the returns they've made by just having a reserve of Bitcoin, okay, they're going to start putting big money towards it as well. Adoption's going to grow and the price of Bitcoin's going to grow. So I don't want people to think like MicroStrategy or Michael Saylor is a bad thing. It's not. He's doing amazing things. I'm just saying to that individual retail investor, take a hard look as to why you would buy shares of something when you can just buy the Bitcoin itself. Okay? Take a hard look at that. Anyways, that's the video. Please like, comment, subscribe, and happy Thanksgiving.